FPX is just a showcase of what this guy's capable of. So even if he doesn't get to play during LPL, like, now we know what this man is willing to do. The Fiora versus the GP this time around, Lwx. So Top Esports used that as a flex this time around, which is great to see. Syndra going tonight, which has become one of his most iconic champions in 2020.
Yeah, and this is going to be like a good mid lane matchup early on for the Syndra, of course. Akali's going to be able to get into it at level 6 once you are able to get access to that ultimate. GP going to do fine in the top lane. Of course, it is a pseudo range versus melee matchup in the sense that you can keep poking out Fiora with your Q. We mentioned last game, both Pantheon and Syndra down towards that bot lane. For the side of FPX, a lot more scaling focus this time around now that it has the Fiora. We already knew Karsa wanted that 2-item power spike. Akali wants to get to that first item. Last game it was the Rift Maker for Doinb. So going to be interesting to see how these comps pan out this time with the subtle changes in them.
Yep. I would like to say that for FPX, you know, now it's about the reverse sweep, right? You know, the roster that's running 4 out of 5 of their world champion players is on the verge of getting destroyed by Top Esports. Bit of the old versus the new. Bit of style versus coordination, I would say. FPX backs against the wall, and Top Esports now running a roster we're very familiar with. 369 on GP, Knight on Syndra is a big pog right now if you're watching this one. JackeyLove and Draw going to be piloting Ezreal and Leona. A bottom lane we've already talked about. But I want to come back to what you're mentioning at the end of draft, where we're looking at a 2v2 through Karsa, through Knight, that is very, very strong. A lot of chain CC, a lot of burst damage in this early lane. So I'm curious to see what Karsa does to enable Knight.
Yeah, I'm interested as well. Of course, we talked about it last game that Pantheon is one of these champions that has the availability to look for a bit of a cheesy level 2 gank. Obviously not as worth in this season, where I feel like farming is a lot more valuable, especially with the XP changes after level 9 where you gain more XP, but we could always see an early gank come out. Of course, Akali's extremely mobile between her E and the Shroud, so once she does hit that level 3 mark, she would be a bit harder to get on top of, and that's when we should expect more ganks towards our side lanes. I feel like the big thing for me is I really like how TS's comp plays into FPX, especially later on, where, right, we think of Fiora, a very, like, hard-committed, pure split-push champion, doesn't do well getting in the middle of the fray, when you have this global ultimate coming out from Karsa, so always easily able to join in the fight top lane and, you know, not allow that Fiora to get that solo pressure.
Plus, also about the riposte, excuse me, that's going to be the balancing act from the burst of barrels or his demise. Crucially to note, as he's pushing up this wave up in the top lane and trying to really get control of the lane in this early stage. Corrupting Potion actually already fully burnt through by 369, but having said that, no pots bar the biscuits available for Xiaolaohu, who does hit level 2 first.
Yep, so 369 just going to catch this wave comfortably under his tower. Tian did path towards the bot side, so doesn't need to be in fear of any kind of gank or any sort of that. Pantheon, of course, moving up as well. So Xiaolaohu just got a really nice ward on Tribrush. So gonna spot out Karsa if he does look for any kind of cheeky gank.
Hey, same play again. I mean, JackeyLove and Draw should have seen this coming because Crisp and Lwx force for 2. They flash forward once again, and JackeyLove has to burn his own.
And this is what we've seen every game where in this bot lane, Crisp has been on top of finding these engages. Even if we're not seeing a ton of action beyond this, you know, Crisp and Lwx are constantly looking for the fight.
Start for tier for JackeyLove as well, so he'll just be able to farm it out and hold back a little bit in this lane now that Chris doesn't have his flash or ignite, but Lwx has both summoners available if it comes to that. Meanwhile in the mid lane we're seeing Knight pushing out with a low mana bar, but still having the pressure over Doinb. Remember, it is TP for both. The heal take in this game rather than the ignite is, you know, something that's been mentioned, but just a crucial change adapting to the lane he's going up against. So you should be a lot cleaner and a lot cleaner for us as well. So thank you for sticking by. We have a big old fixed in caps, as what we just saw is kind of the trading coming through, but we now get to see Tian setting up for the potential bottom lane.
And again, we talked about how comfortable this is for FPX last time around. You still have heal up for JackeyLove and flash for Dwall, so this isn't going to be easy.
Oh, the face breaker lyric. Perfect for JackeyLove, but as Chris tanks it out, he's still going to go down. 369 TPing it as well is bad news bears as the barrel chain, I think, was between two. Undertow needed for Tien to secure the kill, but under turret, he's gone too far forward, and Draw had a perfect stun lock there. Tien has to burn his flash, cleanse from Lwx as well. It seems it is only the one-for-one trade.
Yeah, and sadly, 369 not having enough damage to really find any more impact in that. It does end up just being the one-for-one, so not too bad, but 369 going to lose a lot of EXP and minions to the top lane turret. If JackeyLove could have even survived for maybe 1 or 2 more seconds and bought a bit more time, I feel like that would have gone a lot more in TS's favor, but I like that you mentioned Crisp, because Crisp has been doing such a good job early in laning phase. Again, amazing E coming out right there. Nice W to secure that kill, even if the shield isn't enough to hold out in the end. We do see the barrel come out. It looked like it was on both, but I didn't actually see damage hit onto Lwx.
Yeah,
but
neither.
Regardless, even if it did, I don't think they would have been able to take him down. So ultimately, just a one-for-one.
I want to point out where the kills went, though, to both of the supports, and the difference is Lwx was able to stay in lane, get the shove out, and get the experience. So while both are level 4, there is that slight advantage for Lwx. Wave pushing up against JackeyLove, who was able to get back a double longsword. So we'll see if this nets to any advantage, while supports have left this lane and are starting to look to roam.
Yeah, and one thing to know with AD carries as well, right, is we expect Kaisa to have early trading pressure onto the Ezreal if she can, get in range. Of course, having the Hail of Blades, which is stronger and easier to stack up, using the Conqueror. Also buying those serrated Dirks compared to a tier and 2 longswords like you just pointed out. So it has been a bit expected with FPX being able to do better in the 2v2 trades, and now we are seeing Karsa hover towards bot side, secure that vision, and just make his way towards mid. So nothing too unexpected yet, right? A lot of the plays, especially from top esports side, going to be coming out at level 6 when we have that cannon barrage, and the drop coming in from Karsa as well with his ultimate.
Meanwhile, it's just a kind of a fight over vision. On our minimap, we can see that Tien is fighting over the vision line in Pixel Brush, but it is a flash forward from top esports who know Tien doesn't have ulti. JackeyLove's here too with the arcane shift. They give over the kill to the AD carry, and Tien sticking around a bit too long with Knight moving down.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? We saw that Doinb was in mid lane to her Knight back, so maybe that's why Tien was thinking that they can go for that. But Knight, of course, has TP. TP's in. Top esports bot lane has first move. Tien blue flash in that earlier exchange around bottom side turret. And if there's anything you can say about top esports, and pretty much all the top LPL teams, they are extremely decisive. If they have the opportunity to finally engage, of course they're going to go for it. Equals out to another kill for the side of TS, and getting right onto the member you'd hope, onto JackeyLove's Ezreal.
Yeah, the CS discrepancy, I was mentioning before, where Lwx got to stay in lane for a bit, was starting to be shown, but kills always balance it out. That extra bit of gold is going to mean we're going to see probably an early Sheen coming through, while meanwhile on the top lane, some great trading from Xiaolaohu, but 369, ability to send it right back on this GP. I also want to note, isn't it funny that he's wearing the FPX skin as the damage still coming out? Cannon Barrage is there, Lyric, pops it in front of him, needs one more parlay, but the flash away saves the day while FPX is setting up their bottom lane dive. JackeyLove now going to get undertowed, once to the face, second to the back of the hips as Karsa has come on in. His Skyfall is in a perfect position as Tien's going to get locked up. He's got the damage to kind of just die quietly here. Thank you tonight. And thank you as top esports managed to get a lot across the map.
And just great use of global pressure coming out from TS. I'll be honest, going back to that first exchange, I'm not sure if 369 really should have used that ultimate forced flash out of Fiora, which I don't think means too much.
Are we done here? This is Doinb teleporting to the top side of the map. The grand challenge issued and 369 against the turret as Doinb takes too many. Xiaolaohu will get the fight, but I think top esports just keep winning out.
Yeah, again, you dedicate resources top lane, send 2 men there, and you end up going 1-for-1 is a win for the side of TS. Of course, we can see now that 369 at least is being denied CS, being denied, obviously golden experience, which is going to be massive. We can already see he's down by about 20 from the bottom side play, but Knight coming up just to again, kind of even out that lane state if more CS had been left available. But FPX going to be able to pick off the Herald off the back of that play.
Yeah, they are. And look, while it does look pretty risky, pretty bad, I should say, from FPX, considering the trades across the map, Xiaolaohu does get a crucial kill when he's already 20 CS up in this lane. So once again, the top laner of FPX seems to be one of the best performing laners here in this game 3.
Yeah, and ooh,
okay, all right, here we go again. Zenith Blade doesn't connect. Good dodge away there with the E from Karsa, excuse me. So LWX will survive.
Yeah, they're trying to punish the fact that obviously Crisp was on the other side of the map, so trying to pick up a potential, kill available to them. And one thing I just want to highlight real quick is the fact that here we are in this meta where it's Taliyah, Graves, Olaf, Lilia, carry-style junglers. And I came into the day wondering how TS would approach the meta. Of course, they played more towards that style, especially in the bracket stage of Worlds. Karsa's Graves was quite good. But remember, they defaulted back to that Lee Sin that Karsa is known to love.
Yeah.
And now they come in today and they're playing this Pantheon, right? Something we only saw once. It was only played by Weiwei in one game. Of course, it was a win, but still not really what you would think defines this meta with all of these, carry, farming, scaling-oriented junglers. In top esports, once again, to Karsa's phrase, the best team sets the meta, and TS are making it work.
Yeah, different picks all around. The fact that this GP has had priority and used as a flex between Game 2 and Game 3 as well just kind of shows you top esports have a very different grasp on what they want to play. FPX in the sense as well, but they are reverting more to the Akali, the Karsa, seeing this high priority in the meta used. But so far, it's been more successful for top esports as Karsa has started dictating the pace more and more in this jungle. Level 7 versus level 7, but he has a bit of a CS lead. Starts putting the pressure and the reins on Tian a little bit and waiting in the jungle for him to step forward. But he is spotted out from what I can see on the mini-map. But knowing that Karsa is down towards the bottom side of this jungle adds that extra value with the ultimate available.
And that's what I love to see, right? I think the name of the game for TS is just keep finding Tian, keep, getting wards in his jungle. And no matter where a fight breaks out, Pantheon is always able to react. You can take that 3v3. I think you are stronger in these skirmishes, but even having the tempo advantage you can get from even your mid lane winning as we keep seeing Knight push in, I feel like is massive for the side of TS. And that's the name of the game to me, is just keep collapsing on these side lanes with the Pantheon ultimate, with the roams from Syndra. Again, hypothetically, it should be bot lane with the fact that you have GP topside.
Well, it is, because Starfall comes through and lines up the ceiling. Crisp flashes away as a couple of turret shots go over to Jgl, but Crisp quite low. Won't have the time to heal up as Doinb roams down with Knight. Doesn't seem like anything happens from here except priority given back over to JackeyLove.
Also, really interesting to note, just items real quick, is the fact that Xiaolaohu went for the Ravenous Hydra first, so not seeing a mythic come out, something like the Trinity Force, which is, of course, what we would expect. Haven't seen too many Fioras this tournament. We have seen 2 thus far, both picked up by some of the amateur teams that were playing the Cup. So I feel like keeping our hand on the pulse of this build will be quite nice, as obviously Fiora really needs to take a big role in FPX's comp if they are to, pull back in this series.
Makes sense why the Rift Herald's been given up to this top lane. 330 gold apiece to both Doinb and Xiaolaohu, as first turret blood given over to FPX, so they'll have the gold lead in this game. But we'll have to find out how far that extends. Even getting a second charge in this top lane, not really received well by TES. And the wave will just be cleared out while top esports have other plans through mid.
Yeah, good scout of the week.
Okay. Doinb not going to be followed up, though, by Jgl, who's waiting with Solar Flare. Not actually up and available until now. So there wasn't any follow-up potential. Top esports continue to add pressure to this bottom side.
Yeah, again, great play by them, right? They forced Prio in mid by sending 3 men, and JackeyLove has already had a wave pushing in, so they turn, just forcing the enemy members off. I don't think they should be able to find anything if FPX's bot lane keeps respecting as they should. But this should be Dragon for the side of TS. Again, we already talked about how unimpactful Fiora feels in a lot of these fights. 369 has both TP and ultimate available to him, so you would think FPX just want to keep abusing the fact that with that second charge that you talked about, right, if Xiaolaohu can get down that top inner turret, you're extending that top lane, which is great for these split pushers who want this isolated 1v1. The problem for FPX in that regard is I feel like you're going to need Tian to constantly shadow him, or Karsa can always
Yeah.
join the fight with that Grand Skyfall like we talked about.
And even if it's not GP matching the lane, right, if it becomes a Syndra, then you have another global threat either way. Also very hard to dive the GP with that. You can only riposte once, and once only. As top esports, you mentioned them getting the Dragon. Second one picked up, and... Okay, we have a Mountain Rift. We have a Mountain Rift, which for both teams isn't going to be as impactful as the Ornn tops that we've seen, but still some extra resistances here in some of our bruisers. So 369 currently managing the top wave as we speak of it, but Xiaolaohu with the Ravenous Hydra first is getting his life back.
If you look at the minimap, we did see pings coming down from Doinb and Tian. They did want to set up for a dive, but of course, 369 cleared that wave. They don't have vision of either Karsa or Jgl, so maybe feeling a bit scared with that one.
Oh, Tian's walked into the lens, spotted out Ragnarok time, but Karsa can block this away. So much burst damage available. With now Xiaolaohu in a bad position, he has to dash and riposte, run, lunge, and Skyfall time. You know what? Karsa says Q flash, and it's done and dusted. 2 kills for him over the duration of that play, and top esports do it again.
And you think about it, right? Dragon was just taken. There's nothing up on the bot side of the map. Rift Herald's coming up soon. You don't see Karsa or Jgl on the map, and Tian walking so aggressively in that jungle at the time when Crisp was actually backing out and heading towards
hang
mid
on,
lane.
Killer Instinct used. 369 has to flash away from this one. LWX getting the follow-up while Herald is being done. So the rest of top esports are up here. They know LWX is there, but Crisp has joined the play as well. 2 versus 1 for Jgl as Barrel set up a very big reality to get the slow, but teleport coming in here from Xiaolaohu. He flashes over the wall, gets the grand challenge, and a massive shutdown over to Doinb, while LWX also takes down 369. Haymaker lines true. A double shutdown for FPX, and Herald now the turn of play.
Yeah, a nice win that FPX needed. Going to be a nice injection of gold as well as another Herald. So going to potentially be able to open up a side lane even more. You would think ideally, being able to drop it mid would be nice just for the fact that TS have so much wave clear. Taking that mid lane turret could be quite hard later on, but I don't think TS's comp is going to give the opportunity to just outright drop this Herald down in mid lane. So I want to see where FPX go with it. Another interesting thing to note is Karsa's changed his build, this time going for the Gore Drinker. And we're actually going to get a replay of what we saw about 2 minutes ago, where we talked about, right, they didn't see Jgl or Karsa on the map. Crisp had already started walking back to mid lane, so I'm not quite sure why Tian was here. Gets caught off. The Grand Skyfall comes in from Karsa, and they pick him off. And then we end up with where 369 got caught out with Kaisa ulting in. We see the TP come in from Xiaolaohu, and they're just able to get these nice two picks, on the side of FPX.
A really good decision making from Xiaolaohu. I know I've complimented him so much just because he is the rookie player, but there's been some great performance, great confidence plays. He's leading the charge a little bit here in this game with still maintaining a 20 to 30 CS advantage up in that top lane. Has a level difference over 369's GP as well. But it is crucial to note he doesn't have the Trinity Force yet, which will be massive on top of the Ravenous Hydra. Divine Syndra picked up for his lane opponent.
I do think the important thing to know with what you're talking about is just expectation, right? Obviously, he is, meeting or exceeding that bar compared to when we look at the other 4 members of FPX, right? Sadly, really should be sadly, but you guys are former world champions. Your expectation bar is quite high, even if in summer you did just get knocked out in first round of playoffs. Those expectations are going to be there for a while. And the other 4 members just not really stepping up and meeting them. LWX has had some nice plays in the mid game this time around, but I would say it still doesn't really feel like FPX are the ones in the driver's seat with top esports sitting on 2 Drakes.
Yeah, another one coming up in a minute, so, we'll really see how this play goes out. It does feel like FPX need, that next fight to show us that they are in control, and maybe during this Dragon as well to start sneaking away some of these turrets and adding that side lane pressure, because Trinity Force has just been picked up by Xiaolaohu, so he and Doinb are the most ahead in this game, or at least some of the most ahead alongside with JackeyLove in item perspective, because we've got an AD carry who has Divine Syndra, who has Manamune, and is a bit ahead of LWX. And I was mentioning Doinb before because he's got the Zhonya's Hourglass with the Proto Belt. So this time around, the ability to engage, hold, and steal the fight, and then disengage if need be.
Yeah, so again, going to be able to buy a lot of time is what you're saying. And The hard thing for him is that, right, Akali great against the mobile carries. JackeyLove did pick up the Ezreal this time around. Sure, you will always have a target available in Night, but I feel like FPX's comp is kind of awkward with how do you approach TS in, a straight-up 5v5. They are having the Fiora hover around, so not gaining the advantage in the side lane that we've talked about. Actually, 369 is there, and he has TP available, so they're going to be abusing that TP advantage. I think for FPX, the most important thing is seeing Doinb actually take a flank angle this time around and really being able to put some pressure onto a carry like Knight on the Syndra.
Which is where he's been set up with the Rift Herald charging bottom, so there is a bit of a timer, and top esports know that. They get the engage, and that is in the form of Scat of the Week, with True Shot Barrage putting Lwx super low. He doesn't have enough lifesteal, and Doinb almost getting caught out as well means a lot of ultimates have been used by top esports. Another great Scat of the Week, the poke comes through, draw engages, but it's Ragnarok time as he burns down. The full engage from Crisp in the backline sets up the kill on draw and Knight, and it's poking from back to front that top esports can find retribution in this play. Karsa goes in once again, and the poke from JackeyLove, fantastic as Tian goes around the backside, but it's not enough. Once more, the kill Bellblade needed from JackeyLove, who gets a triple kill. He played that fight so freaking well.
And it happens once again where FPX look like they're on top of the play. Great play coming out from Crisp, especially finding his way onto Knight somehow. Tien's so hard to kill with that Gore Drinker, sustains through all the damage, but in the end, they leave JackeyLove alive, and this is why we've been harping on, having an AD carry with mobility, being able to weave around these fights a lot better against the likes of what FPX have drafted. And we're going to go back, see the Scout of the Week and the True Shot Barrage. You talked about chunking him low, and we're going to see Jgl go for the ultimate. Doesn't really hit. It does look like he gets a bit of the slow. Jgl, feeling the confidence after Knight hits the Scout of the Week, does go in onto the Olaf, but again, pops the Ragnarok, has a W. Gore Drinker extremely strong. Crisp with an amazing ultimate, finding Knight. We thought that was the win condition, but no one touching JackeyLove, no one able to get onto this Ezreal. Again, very easily able to kite out this fight. Doinb had already used his full combo. Sett had already used his ultimate. Everything popped on the Olaf, and JackeyLove easily able to clean up. Lwx trying to have some fancy feet, not quite sure what he was going for with that flash, maybe just hoping he would get the initial burst and then flash away from the GP on the latter half, but doesn't matter. JackeyLove picks up that one as well.
Oh, sure, can flip miss from Doinb. That could have been the differences. Lwx just dies to 369. I didn't see how that happened, but meanwhile, FPX are losing in the top side as well as teleports being burnt by Xiaolaohu. Knight zoning them with Scat of the Week. A Shuriken Flip this time does connect, but Solar Flare on top of Tian. He's just gone. JackeyLove Arcane shifting forward once again. Xiaolaohu regrets the decision. Top esports have won a fight in front of Baron. They're on sold point. They're getting everything in this game, Lyric, and now they're going to force FPX to challenge this one.
Yeah, and again, it feels like TS are just a level above FPX at this point. Again, we saw this exact best of 5, obviously very different time about 6-7 months ago at MSC. Very similar result with top esports 3-1-ing FPX.
And now they want to fight 3 versus 5 low health bars. Grand challenge on the backline. Xiaolaohu bringing this back in a favorable position against 369 as well. Jumps on in. This Fiora trying her hardest, but it is JackeyLove who needs to be stopped with another double. FPX in sore trouble.
Yeah, and JackeyLove's teamfight positioning this series has just been phenomenal.
Killer instinct. Lwx finally finds it. There you go, FPX. You get something back.
Yeah, and we've just seen like Lwx kind of throwing out these ultimates. Throwing out the Ws, always takes the ultimate. It's been hit or miss with him either picking up these massive, massive kills, massive double kills, or him just kind of going down in the fray. This time, luckily, it does work out. They are going to get a bit of gold back into their pockets with this mid lane turret. But we all know the next timer we're looking at is that Drake, since top esports are on soul points, so we'll be in about 2.5 minutes. We are going to see how 369 solo killed Lwx. I guess not a solo kill because JackeyLove did get some damage down. We see an engage come in on the top side of the map with Tian running forward aggressively. Doinb also walking a bit too far forward.
And now going aggressive again on top of Knight. The perfect execution use. He's close to killing Knight. He needs one more Q, but Knight survives. Only just not enough damage as 369 backs him up.
Yeah, and again, I don't feel like Doinb's had the best Akali games. It seems like there are some like angles that are just very different from the champions he's used to playing, right? Like Akali, a very, very different champion compared to the likes of the Aatrox, the Kled, these sorts of things that he's been pulling out all tournament long. So Doesn't look the most comfortable, though he has had a bit of an impact this game. I would say it looks like Tian having a lot more of a struggle, so
but hey,
TS just going to be able to abuse these mistakes and push down mid lane and, again, start sieging on these turrets with these Ezreal.
Because Baron was left up only on 369. He's the only person who didn't go down. So the fact that 369 is able to utilize the Baron with the rest of top esports, helping to push for inner, helping to set up to put themselves in a favorable position for this Mountain Dragon. Look at the Baron buff timing in the top right of your screen. 50 seconds left with Dragon, 1 minute and 5 until it spawns. So these are aligning quite nicely to help get that inner as well, help get some of the gold, reset nicely, and build up for the Mountain Soul.
Also interesting to know, again, we're going to talk a lot about items over Demacia Cup just because they are like the newest thing out. We are seeing a Gangplank chainsword on Gangplank, and a lot of people are like, what is that? It is the new Grievous Wounds item that they made for bruisers. So it gives health, gives attack damage, also gives Grievous Wounds. So again, like really interesting item that we actually don't see built on that many champions, picked up by 369.
As solo kill territory once again, the Unleashed Power, great scat of the week. What more can you expect from Knight? As Xiaolaohu is just forced to now sit and farm. Dragons up in 20 seconds, and that was a big engage, big grand challenges. FPX want the fight beforehand. Chris gets a 4-man facebreaker, but Tian flashes into his death. Chris now wants the Haymaker shield. He layers it down, but top esports have too much damage themselves. It's all in now for FPX as Doinb does the same. Another triple over to JackeyLove. They can't kill this AD carry, so it's all thrown in the bin.
Yeah, and that looked like a bit of a desperation play for FPX, especially after Tian got picked off. Xiaolaohu,
he's just dead.
Not going to be able to do anything. Yep, does his best right on the Fiora. Just kind of stuck in the middle of the enemy team. But yeah, Tian got picked off to start that went off, and it looks like the other members of FPX are like, well, he's in there. Dragon's about to come up. We got to do something to throw everything at the drawing board. They all die one by one. So we do get the Mountain Soul for the side of top esports. And again, we're going to see this one to start off. FPX are going in to start this off. It's actually Crisp who leads the charge. Tian flashes in, gets immediately bursted down. Now Crisp pretty much in there by himself once Doinb jumps out. Doinb going to E, and again, I feel like at this point, right, there isn't anything else you can do. Even if you back off, they're going to get the soul, potentially even kill you anyway. So I guess decides to have a good time and just follow that E back in regardless.
Time. Yeah, you're right. He definitely had a good time at the end and thought, well, there's no way to do this but that. And top esports looking unbeatable. Now have the Mountain Soul with Elder coming up in 5 minutes. Baron in 1:30 to try that one again. And a lot of avenues they can push here, Lyric, with third items pretty much coming across the board. Banshee's Veil for the defensiveness of Knight. We've got the Navori Quick Blades once again on another Gangplank, which seems to be really cool. And alongside that Gangplank 2077 chainsword as well. Fourth item coming up for JackeyLove. He's backing now, and he's just picked up a Ravenous Hydra. Remember, works on range now, so kind of cool, and going to be cool to see what happens next for top esports.
Yeah, and to to kind of project ahead. I really don't know how FPX's comp can, take a winning fight in this game. We talked a lot about the awkwardness of FPX's team comp into what TS have drafted early on. They can't really play through side lanes. I do think you're at a point maybe where a Xiaolaohu can start really out-trading 369 and potentially look for a dive, but I mean, with that Mountain Soul, actually, I feel like even that is kind of unattainable. We've seen you can't win these straight-up 5v5s. You have no real way of getting on top of the Ezreal and locking him down and finding that pick. It feels like you're hoping for a member of TS to overextend by themselves, Karsa not being in the area, so we can't follow up with that ultimate, and again, just hope TS kind of gift you a kill.
Because for FPX right now, trying to defend one thing is hard. I mean, Xiaolaohu trying to add pressure as well on the other side of the map. While another turret just goes down to TES. Perfect time to hit the Baron, if you ask me, because with a 5k gold lead at 28 minutes in the game, FPX nowhere to be seen. Baron starting up once again.
Yeah, and again, FPX are going to have to come and try and contest for this one. They are TPing in now.
But they will lose the game if they do this. Doinb's going into JackeyLove. I regret that decision if I'm the Akali. I'll tell you one thing. One's Ray with the perfect execution, but 369 hot in the trail. Last tick gets him to safety. Top esports may be low, but with the Mountain Soul refreshing, with JackeyLove healing up, they can just do this again.
Yeah, Doinb does have the TP, so he also can come back as well. Won't have the ultimate this time. Crisp right in the middle of top esports does manage to get away. But this is what we talked about, right? FPX cannot just run straight into TS's comp, and when they do, they just keep getting chunked so low continuously. Maybe your best hope is just looking for a steal at this point. Ooh, Tian?
I mean, Xiaolaohu's coming in on the flank. Karsa's at half health, so I'm looking at this Fiora as Baron slightly resets to the tune of 6,000 health. Akali again with the shuriken flip. Doinb thinking about going in. Tian going in over the wall as well. Chris gets that showstopper once more. The haymaker lines down the middle. Karsa flies in. So does Lwx, though, who just gets obliterated on the back line. There's way too much shielding, way too much burst, and FPX feel the brunt of it in one single play. Knight Q's down, auto attacks, and Draw comes in to help the helping hand of Knight already there. It's top esports. Again, a 5-0. Baron, and probably the game.
Yep, top esports have just been in control of this game pretty much, I'd say, from the start, other than some early laning shenanigans. But great play coming out, especially from 369 there. Picked up a double kill in that fight with a combination of his barrels. Really nice chain coming in from him. We saw good play coming out from Knight, hitting a scout of the week to ensure some of those kills. And then at the end, two members of top esports just peel back off onto the Baron, let the other members finish off the last kill. And again, we're just going to start seeing a push of top esports into FPX's base. And we've already seen the desperation for the past 10 minutes from the side of FPX. Things don't get easier. Your game plan doesn't really change. Options don't become available to you. Once again, for the side of FPX, you're relying on a mistake from top esports. That's the best you can hope for. You can try to buy a bit of time, but without a lot of wave clear, you really can't stop top esports push.
It's really sad because I think a lot of the problems with FPX in this series has come off the back of the core players, right? Like, I know a lot of fans out there will want to say, oh, when Nuguri comes, you know, as you mentioned in game one, you know, it could be a band-aid, but FPX, the core problem, a lot deeper. The players we saw win out Worlds in 2019 have not been the same since, and top esports are showing they're kind of the new kings as forward they go with the march of Baron buff. And Xiaolaohu caught out on the backside. The Solar Flare locks him down and he's at half health, has to run away, while the rest of top esports uses Baron to maybe say the game's over.
Yeah, and top esports are at the point where they can realistically just keep whittling them down under turret. They have the range from the Syndra. They have all the Ezreal damage.
Crisp is in. Showstopper once again, but the Haymaker shield means nothing against JackeyLove. One by one, the ants, because that's what they are, go marching in. It's JackeyLove triple. We're ready for the pentakill, I think, as Dan would be happy for that one. Doinb at a quarter health, and Karsa jumping in once more. JackeyLove behind them. True Shot Barrage layers down, but it's Karsa who takes the kill. JackeyLove over the wall. His damage absolutely bonkers with the full-blown ace. Top esports are going to disappoint fans as this quarterfinal is going down 3-0. FPX didn't stand a chance in under an hour and a half. Top esports have dismantled them, shown us that their new support is capable of handling the heat, and that top esports are something to be feared. Moving on to the semifinals in Demacia Championship.
Yeah, Hysterics, a bit of a disappointing result for FPX, but I gotta say, right, it was a bit expected. We know top esports have been in good form despite obviously losing out in semis at Worlds. It is still semis of Worlds. Of course, FPX, the last time we saw them lost in round 1 of regionals to IG, who didn't even make it to Worlds.
I will say that, you know, JackeyLove this series, I think, has been one of the best performing members. 369 and Knight had moments of bliss and had great consistent moments as well. It's hard to name an MVP for this series, but I think JackeyLove has just been at that explosive impact point that we talked about in summer where, you know, we saw those Yuumi Ezreal games, and it was quite reminiscent of this, where he just pops off, he takes over, and JackeyLove looks like the best AD carry in China, if not one of the best in the world.